Hi, this is Will, Bible in a Year, December 3rd, day 94. This is on the Saturday. Old Testament reading first, Deuteronomy 1:1 to 2:23. This is really dense and really stuffy, and there's a lot of it. It's a bit of a challenge to wrap your head around it. Took me a while to read it and comprehend it. But suppose read what you're given. Starts off by God saying, you got to leave Horeb. You know, it's time to move on. Stayed here long enough. Shift. So they kind of do that, and it doesn't really say much. Just move. But then it goes on to say, which direction and everything, and how long it's going to take, whatever. Then there's the appointment of leaders, where God says, choose some wise, understanding and respected men from each of your tribes, and I will set them over to you. So that's just God saying to them, pick some good leaders, some good people who know what they're doing, who can talk to me, have a good relationship with me, and I'll tell them where to go and you can follow them. And they do, and they judge who should be who, and I think they come up with it with a couple of people. But then, the third part is them sending out spies ahead of them. So God's saying, shift from Horeb, go over in this direction. But they're like, okay, we'll send some people out first just to check what's ahead, which they do a lot. Good idea, really. So they send out these spies, and they come back saying, it's a good land that the Lord our God is giving to us. And, they come back with some fruit of the land and everything. So they're like, cool. Let's move on. But then there's a rebellion against the Lord. And the Lord gets, really, really peeved. And he's like, it says here, when the Lord heard what you said, he was angry and solemnly swore, Not a man of this evil generation shall see the good land I swore your forefathers, except Caleb son of Jephunneh. He will see it, and I will give him and his descendants the land he set his feet on, because he followed the Lord wholeheartedly. So he's just saying, you lot have had a go at me, so all of you, you're not going to see the promised land that I promised ages ago. So I'll just wait until you die, and then your descendants will go. So what an awesome punishment. But obviously, a few people chosen by God because they've been good disciples to him, they can go over into the promised land. They'll live to see it. And it also says, which I really like, and the little ones that you said would be taken captive, your children who do not yet know good from bad, they will enter the land. I will give it to them, and they will take possession of it. But as for you, turn around and set out towards the desert along the route to the Red Sea. So he's just saying, your children will see it, because, they're not at the age of understanding yet. They don't know, what's wrong or right, and they didn't really have a say in the rebellion. So they get to see it. So that's pretty cool. But it just reminds you, God's not a cruel God, He knows that children wouldn't have been able to make that decision, wouldn't have had a say in what went on, so it's not their fault, so therefore they're not going to get punished for it, which is good. It shows that God's got some mercy in the Old Testament, but he seems pretty brutal. So as the obedient people they are, they turn around to the desert way along the way to the Red Sea, and they kind of wander there for a while. It sounds pretty boring. And it says, 38 years passed from the time we left Kadesh Barnea until we crossed the Zared Valley. By then the entire generation of fighting men had perished from the camp, as the Lord had sworn to them. The Lord's hand was against them until he had completely eliminated them from the camp. So in 38 years' time, everybody who rebelled against the Lord died. Happy days. They can move on with their lives now. And they do. So, yeah. That was just their descendants and the children that were mentioned beforehand. they're still alive and they're about to go into the Promised Land, or on the way to the Promised Land now. Whether they get there, I don't know. I haven't read that far yet. But yeah, that was the Old Testament in a nutshell. You know, leave where you're going. This is the way to go. You know, tell some people to lead you. But they don't like it. They have a go at God. God says, "All you die, your children can go instead." That was the Old Testament. New Testament. Luke 9:5-7 to 10:24. The first bit, pretty nice. The cost of following Jesus. It's just a bunch of people coming up to Jesus saying, you know, "I'll follow you. I'll follow you. You know, I want to follow you. Let me follow you." So all these obedient people trying to be disciples, you know. But they've all got these second thoughts, you know. "Lord, can I come with you? Can I come to where you're going?" He goes, "Yeah, no problem, come." But they say, "Oh yeah, let me just go home, let me just say ta-ra to my family." And then God says, "Oh, well, if you're going to have second thoughts about it, if you're going to go and say goodbye to your family, we don't want you." You know, not being funny or nothing, but we want people who make that decision now and want to do it. And then it's like, "Oh, Jesus, can I follow you? Can I follow you, please? Can I go where you're going?" "Yeah, yeah." And then goes, "Oh, let me just go and bury my father." Just goes, "Hang on a minute, if you're going to bury your father, I don't want you. Let the dead bury their own dead. You know, it's a dead body. You know, no one's living in it. What's the point? You know, it's just a corpse. Their soul is already gone. So, you know, if you want to go and bury your father, that's fine, but I'm not waiting for you. I don't want you like that." It's kind of harsh, but I suppose it makes sense. I'm not going to go against what Jesus said. Then the second part, Jesus sends out the 72. This is quite an important part in the New Testament. And Jesus, in a nutshell, Jesus sends like 2 people out, you know, 2 by 2, altogether 72 people, ahead of where they're going, you know, to all these towns and cities, just saying, "Yeah, you know, the Lord's going to come here in a few months. Do you want him to come? Are you ready for him to come?" Kind of like the spies in the Old Testament, just checking ahead and report back. But Jesus said, "When you enter a town and are welcomed, eat what is set before you, heal the sick who are there, and tell them the kingdom of God is near you. But when you enter a town and are not welcomed, go into its streets and say, even the dust of your town that sticks to our feet we wipe off against you. Yet be sure of this, the kingdom of God is near. I tell you it will be more bearable on that day for Sodom than for that town." So he's just saying, you know, if they want me to come, if they want Jesus there, eat what they give you, accept their gifts, you know, just let them be hospitable to you. And it says, "The worker deserves his wages." And so, you know, you kind of get what you're given, you know, kind of a well done from the people around, saying, "Oh yeah, thanks for the heads up. Have some nice meal," you know. So that's pretty cool. But if they don't want Jesus to come, they just go out into the street saying, "Yeah, whatever. Who do you think you are? You know, this is Jesus we're talking about. That's just despicable. How dare you? You know, we hate you now. Even the dust in your street isn't good enough for Jesus, because you don't want him here." So, pretty heavy stuff. That was pretty much it. Old Testament, New Testament so far. And then there's the Psalms, which was alright. I did my thing, looked it up in the Message instead, because I still can't understand the Psalms here. This is the Message version now. "Dignify those who are down on their luck. You'll feel good. That's what God does. God looks after us all, makes us all robust with life, lucky to be in the land. We're free from enemy worries. Whenever we're sick and in bed, God becomes our nurse, nurses us back to health. I said, God, be gracious, put me together again. My sins have torn me to pieces. My enemies are wishing the worst for me. They make bets on what day I will die. If someone comes to me, he mouths empty platitudes, while all the gathering gossip about me to entertain this street corner crowd. These friends who hate me whisper slanders all over town. They form committees to plan misery for me. Get what you will. I don't really have any views about it. I read it. I didn't really relate to it. But I was translating it for you, just in case you didn't have a copy of the message or whatever. But yeah, that was day 94, December 3rd. Alright, ta-da!